Welcome into our Sports Talk at the Stadium. K-Mac here at Williams-Brice, the SEC opener and home opener for the Gamecocks. Well, it didn't go very well for a second year in a row. The Gamecocks come up short. Kind of a different scenario, obviously, than it was last year against Texas A&M when they just got rolled out of the building. Tonight, they look like they might get rolled out, down 17 at the half, but then fought back in the second half, but came up short. So many things happening in this game. First of all, the big story on the injury front, Connor Mitch, he went down late in the first half, tried a little option play. It didn't work. Fumble was headed towards the sideline, and he ran over and tried to knock it out of bounds and ended up separating his shoulder, his right shoulder, didn't return to the game. And Steve Spurrier said after the game, it looks like Mitch might be out a year. That could be his season if that is true. And we're told that he's at the hospital getting that checked out now and in a lot of pain. So he's out indefinitely, and it looks like it's going to be a significant amount of time, most likely the season. So enter Perry Orth. Now, before Mitch was hurt, he wasn't playing very well. You'd hope to see, I expected to see improvement from him from game one, where he didn't have any wowing stats, but didn't turn the ball over and help the Gamecocks get that win. He came out tonight maybe a little excited early, never looked comfortable out there. The offense never looked comfortable. So Perry Orth came in late in the first half and didn't really get a chance to do much. But in the second half, he moved the offense. He did well. He played with some poise in there. And I'll say this about Perry Orth, just haven't seen him play a lot until tonight, but he's a guy when you talk to him, you ask him a question, he's very good at looking the part of a quarterback, even though we know he's not a D1 recruited quarterback. He is a walk-on that just got a scholarship. This guy was working at Publix down in the Vista to make ends meet for a while before he got a scholarship this summer. So he just became a scholarship quarterback, but he looked solid. He was the better quarterback between Mitch and himself, and Nunez got a little action in there. You might see more out of him now. It's going to be a completely different game now for South Carolina going forward with the quarterback position now very much in flux. But it is Perry Orth, and he did not do poorly. He played pretty well. The issue was for the Gamecocks, they couldn't score touchdowns. They were kicking field goals. They were bogging down there inside the 15-yard line. Had some stupid things that hurt them, like a personal foul penalty on Knott that cost them 15 yards. They would have had first and goal right around the 2-yard line. That backed them up to the 17, and they ended up kicking a field goal there, came up short, and just weren't able to punch it in. Brandon Wiles, after the game, you see the story on our website where you can listen to his audio. He was very clear that he felt like he should have had the ball in his hands more. He carried the ball tonight 16 times for 107 yards. He averaged 6.6 a carry, and certainly could make a case that he should have carried the ball more, but they were down. Now, I'll say this, they're down 17 points in the second half. They've got to throw the ball some to get back in the game. But around the goal line, maybe he has a good case where he should have got the ball more. They weren't scoring touchdowns there. They didn't have an opportunity to get it in the end zone. They missed a field goal that was costly in the first half. That's why they had to go for two. The only points Kentucky scored in the second half was a scoop and score on a botched 2-point conversion attempt by the Gamecocks that led to a 2-point turnaround the other way. And Orth played very well, like I said, moved the ball, made a big mistake, though. On first down, the Gamecocks are driving. They're in the plus territory, moving towards the Wildcat red zone. He throws across his body, throws an interception there on the far boundary, and that's that. Kentucky managed to pick up a couple first downs and run out the clock. After Kentucky didn't do anything offensively in the second half until that last drive, really. They only picked up one first down to that point, but they picked up their second and that next series after the turnover, and then were able to run down the clock. The Gamecocks just didn't have anything left in the tank defensively, maybe, and didn't have enough timeouts, and that was that. So they lose this game. And boy, you look at what's coming up for them. They still have Georgia next week. No one's going to predict the win there. They still have to play LSU here. If you can't beat Kentucky at home, traditionally that's not a good sign for your program. Now, I'll say this: Kentucky is improving. They were an improving team last year, but this team hadn't won on the road in over 2,000 days in the SEC. Everybody's been beating them. South Carolina has now lost to them twice, so there's no way to spin that. This is a bad thing for the Gamecocks, and going forward, you don't see a lot of games you're circling going, that should be a win. If you lose to Kentucky at home, you're not going to be circling a lot of games on your schedule saying, well, that should be a win. But the defense played well in the second half, not so well in the first half. 2 weeks in a row they've done that. Can they just put 4 quarters together? That would be encouraging. And I do think Perry Orth has a little something there. He's not a big guy. He was a walk-on just a few months ago, but he does have some poise. He played with a poise that we didn't see from Connor Mitch in the first 2 games, even before the injury. So it's an unfortunate situation there for Connor Mitch with a serious shoulder injury, and it's an unfortunate thing for the Gamecocks now. 0-1 in the SEC, still have a lot of big games ahead, still a lot of season, but this is a very tough way to start the season on the field and then in the injury report for the Gamecocks. So you could check out Steve Spurrier's comments on the website. You can also check out John Hoke and Perry Orth, who will be the guy. Lorenzo Nunez is going to probably get an opportunity to play more now. I think they've got to get him on the field somehow, and Steve Spurrier is going to have to get creative. And John Hoke is going to have to tighten up his defense and get them to play the way they have in the last 2 quarters of each game in the first 2 quarters. Kentucky didn't punt in the first half, and South Carolina didn't punt in the second half. So it was still a game that I think it was for Gamecock fans, they're probably very discouraged for a lot of different reasons. But to lose like that, it was very tough. And I think there's some Gamecock fans now that weren't feeling great going into this one, but thought they would win. But now after losing this one and looking at their schedule, this could be a second straight year where you're kind of going, are they going to get to 6 to get to that bowl game? They pulled one out against Florida last year to get there. I'm not ready to say this isn't a bowl team. I still think we only have a 2-game sample size. But the Gamecocks are in they're in pretty dire straits. They're going to have to really tighten things up. They're going to probably be a double-digit underdog at Georgia next week. LSU is a team that is going to be very tough to beat. Clemson right now, they would probably be a double-digit, certainly at least a touchdown or more underdog at home against Clemson. Tennessee, I know they lost against Oklahoma today. You just go down the schedule and you say there's some very difficult games on there. You circle Vanderbilt, maybe that's the one I'd still circle and say should be a win at home. The Citadel. After that, is this team going to go to Missouri and win? Is this team going to go to Texas A&M and win right now? Would anybody pick that? I certainly wouldn't. But there's a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of things can happen here as the college football season progresses. So that's going to do it from here at Williams-Brice Stadium. Again, lots of stuff at SportsTalkSC.com. Steve Spurrier, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, will have his teleconference. We will have that covered for you. It should be interesting, and we should get a more definitive update on Connor Mitch's injury. If you're watching this on Sunday afternoon after 2, it's probably already there. If you're watching it late tonight or now, I guess early in the morning, it'll be up Sunday afternoon around 2:15, 2:30 or so. So we'll have that for you at the website as well. And then a busy show on Monday. We'll take your calls and we'll break this thing down on Sports Talk. That's going to do it from here at Williams-Brice Stadium.